this episode of Democracy at the Crossroads, we'll discuss two separate but related aspects of the recent communal violence in Haryana. The first is how the law and order machinery is in a state of complete breakdown in the state of Haryana. Just sample this. The Vishwa Hindu Parishad procession on July 31 was not a sudden one. In the Muslim-dominated Mewat region, it had been notified weeks in advance. The videos of notorious criminals like Manu Manesha were floating around for days, exhorting people to join the procession in large numbers. Manu Manesha's associate, cow vigilante Bittu Bajrangi's video spewing venom against Muslims had gone viral before July 31. On the other side, the video clips of Muslim groups vowing to stop the procession of criminal Gaurakyats at all costs was doing the rounds. The CID chief of the area, in an open interview with India Today television, says that he had reported about the explosive situation to his bosses and had called for extraordinary precautionary measures. Nu was a veritable tinderbox that day. And how was the state geared to deal with it on 31st July? You don't need to delve deep to find an answer. You just need to listen to the Home Minister of State, Anil Vij. The Home Minister himself admitted this last Friday that he came to know about the new violence only at 3 p.m., almost 3 hours after the first stones were pelted by the Muslim goons on the sword-wielding, slogan-shouting Hindu processionists around noon. It would astound you when you listen further to the Honorable Home Minister. He says that even at 3 p.m., more than 3 hours after the communal violence, he did not get the information from the police channel, the department he heads. But lo and behold, he got desperate messages from a private acquaintance of the area, seeking police help to rescue the processionists from a nearby temple. Then what did the Honorable Home Minister do? He called up the SP of the district. The SP was on leave. Then the Home Minister called the adjacent Palwal SP, who was supposed to be temporarily in charge of No on that day. And Palwal SP told his minister that he was busy in some other work in his own district and he had no clue about what was happening in No. And then see the sequence. Then the Honorable Minister calls up the ADJ, Additional Director General of Police, in charge of law and order. And the ADJ tells his boss that he is on leave and he is at Vaishno Devi, so he can't do anything. Finally, the Home Minister turned to the DGP. DGP, of course, had no clue about what was going on at No. When the SP in charge of the district himself was clueless, how could the DGP, who is in charge of the entire state, would come to know about this major flare-up, which involved arson, looting, and deaths? From this, you can very well imagine the state of the administration of Haryana. Large-scale communal violence breaks out in a district headquarters, and from the SP to the DGP, no one is aware about it for clear 3 hours after the deadly clash. And Home Minister gets to know about it from a private citizen, and then goes on to inform the Chief Minister. Mind you, the Chief Minister, Manohar Lal Khattar, was equally blissfully unaware of the tragic developments in his state for full 3 hours, because his channel of communication was equally paralyzed. Just as the SP was away on that day, even the DC, Deputy Commissioner, which is equivalent to District Magistrate, he was also away from Noor that day. He said he had gone to Chandigarh on a day when a virulent Gorakshat Shobha Yatra was to crush this Muslim-dominated area. So Mr. Khattar had to throw up his hand. Yes, he had no clue. How could he know what was happening when his Home Minister did not know, his DGP did not know, his SP did not know? The question is, how come these officials had abdicated their responsibilities when a dire premonition had been given by the intelligence wing of the state, the CID? The Home Minister says he is helpless. The CID officers report to the Chief Minister. So he had no clue what was the advance intelligence input given by the CID about the 31st July procession. Only the Chief Minister could answer that. And the Chief Minister, on his part, is clueless and speechless. What do you call it? Isn't it a clear case of the breakdown of the constitutional machinery of the state? Who cannot prevent a premeditated communal conflagration by a gang of goons of both Hindu and Muslim community. That brings me to the second point. Those who are incapable of discharging their constitutional responsibilities often take shelter behind bravado, what they call bulldozer justice. By the turn of events, doesn't it show that the bulldozer is a means at the disposal of incompetent men in power to show off their masculinity? There was a complete breakdown of the constitutional machinery on 31st July. The Haryana government wakes up from slumber on 1st August and rolls out bulldozers to administer justice to the supposed rioters. Fine. Uncivilized men in power take to uncouth means to display their power. Let's accept it. But then the saffron establishment does not believe in equal enforcement of the demolition justice. Demolition of houses of the criminals, irrespective of their religion. Is ours a religious apartheid state where criminals belonging to religious minorities will only be subjected to the law of the land? But Hindu criminals supporting the establishment, the likes of Manu Manesha and Bittu Bajrangi, they would invariably escape the long hand of the law. Look at the demolitions after the no violence in the last 1 week. All the videos that we see of bulldozers pulling down shops, homes, dwellings. Whose dwellings are these? The Indian Express spoke extensively to the victims of bulldozer justice. Everyone, mind you, everyone without exception was a Muslim. I poured into the pages of the Hindu, the Hindustan Times, the Times of India, hoping to find the names of some Hindu rioters who had been subjected to the demolition justice. But I found none. We need to ask, is the collective punishment law only resort for Muslims? All criminals must be punished in a democracy. Though this concept of collective punishment by the state is illegitimate in a civilized state. But that's a separate debate. My pointed question to the Haryana administration, Mr. Khattar, Mr. Vij, how many dwellings of the Hindu criminals who were party to the wanton violence on 31st July and 1st August have been bulldozed? Perhaps none. At least there is no evidence in the mainstream media. Is it your case, Mr. Khattar, that no Hindus were involved in arson, looting and murder on those fateful days, July 31st and August 1? You didn't find any evidence? If you want to see evidence, Mr. Khattar, just click the India Today TV's YouTube videos. Please watch its editor Rahul Kanwal's program in the last 1 week. You will see saffron band-wearing goons with swords, lathis, guns, causing mayhem, rampaging shops and establishments. Are those lumpen Hindutva gangs your emissaries? Why then have their houses not been demolished? Mr. Khattar, have the houses of the Hindu goons who set fire to a mosque and killed an imam in the heart of Gurugram, the Millennium City, been demolished? If not, why? Are these criminals your brand ambassadors and therefore the long hand of the law is not allowed to reach them? Mr. Khattar, you have to answer these uncomfortable questions. You have to answer why Sajid, a Muslim, is arrested for hate speech, rightly so, and is sent to jail, rightly so. But why Bittu Bajrangi is arrested also for hate speech the same day, but he is instantly released on bail? Why this discriminatory application of law depending on religion? Why is it that if it is a Hindu criminal espousing your ideology, your government will not oppose bail? But if it is a Muslim criminal, then he becomes a threat. His bail must be opposed. This brings me back to the question I raised at the beginning. Mr. Khattar, are you pursuing a policy of religious apartheid? My friends, all of us need to ask this question again and again in order to protect our democracy and to save our beloved motherland from being pulled apart by the today gangs and their benefactors in power in our